Hi, my name is Kyle Benison, and today I'm going to be talking about child sexual abuse prevention. This is a very difficult issue to discuss, but it's one that we really need to begin to talk about. We like to think that this doesn't really happen and we brush this under the rug as a society, but it's a lot more prevalent than we'd like to think, and it's also very preventable. And college kids can play a huge role in that. Penn State has a very unique connection to this through the Sandusky case, which we all remember. This was just an abhorrent criminal act that occurred over several years and just really shocked the Penn State community. But it did serve a purpose, and that was to bring to light the issue of child sexual abuse. These are some of the people that, whether it's because of a lack of training, education, or just a willingness to act, didn't step up and prevent this from happening in the first place. And it really was something that could have been prevented. And the Second Mile lacked the organizational policies to make sure that this didn't occur as well. And this really hit Happy Valley and the entire nation as a whole. It really shocked us because, we like to think that we live in a safe community and that this doesn't happen or we don't tolerate it. And it really showed that there was a disconnect between what we thought was happening and what was really going on. The fact is that there are 300,000 sexual assaults a year in the USA. 7 out of 10 of them are on kids younger than 18. And I know this really shocked me because we think of sexual assault as an adult issue, but that's clearly not the case. And in addition to that, 1 in 10 kids will be abused before their 18th birthday. And sexual abuse consists of anything from sexual exploitation, masturbation, exposure to pornography, or just actual sex between a child and adult or a child and a child when force is used. And these are the reported numbers, which is around 40%. And this does impact college students. This has a huge economic impact on our society. It costs around $210,000 over the lifetime of a victim of child abuse. And some of the issues that come up are drug abuse, alcoholism, obesity, mental disorders like depression, academic struggles, higher incidence of crime, and lower productivity. And all of this affects our economy, our schools. It puts a burden on our healthcare system. And people hear the vastness of this issue and all these numbers, and they feel overwhelmed, like it's too big of an issue to tackle alone. And they're right. It takes community, and it starts with education. And first, we got to learn about some of the misconceptions that we're teaching our kids. And the biggest one is stranger danger. And I'm sure we've all heard this, to stay away from the guy with the candy. And that's just really not the case when 90% of kids know they're abusers. And 60% are trusted by the family. Other issues we run into are that college kids feel like they're not responsible for a child because they don't work as a professional teacher or a coach. But the fact is, we all know a kid, and if we care about that kid, then we have a responsibility as adults to make sure that they're safe. College kids also feel a lack of personal power. But we've shown time and time again at Penn State that we can really influence society greatly here at Penn State. Through things like Thon in a positive light, or things like the KDR scandal in a negative light, or of course the Sandusky case, we are always impacting the national news and the agenda. And I saw this firsthand in my hometown when I launched a project trying to educate adults on the prevention of child sexual abuse. And people flocked to this program because they saw me, a young person, concerned about the well-being of other young people. And they felt that they had to get on this. And I could do that thanks to this organization called Darkness to Light, which is a national organization that focuses on the prevention, recognition, and reaction to child sexual abuse. And this is actually an organization that is being used here at Penn State to educate people. And the organization that's doing that is One Heart, Penn State. Their most notable event is the Blue Out, where they raised over $70,000 last year to help the victims of child sexual abuse. And they hold education and awareness events throughout the year. So some ways that you can get involved with this are just to simply create a dialogue. Start talking about this issue. The longer that we're afraid to talk about it or uncomfortable talking about it is the longer that these perpetrators continue to get away with these things. So we just need to talk about it. The other things we can do are get educated, learn the signs of abuse, which are entirely mental. There's rarely physical signs of abuse. So we have to look out for our younger friends and notice when something is up. And some easy ways to tell are just abnormal behavior in general, failing a class when they normally do well, or doing extremely well when they're normally struggling. A big one is abnormal sexual behavior that's not age appropriate. In addition, we need to demand organizational policy change in the organizations that serve our kids. And the biggest one is preventing these one-on-one situations. This is where 80% of abuse takes place. So if we can prevent these situations from occurring in the first place, then abuse doesn't have a place to manifest itself. Other things include background checks and training for prevention. Also, learn the reporting laws. In Pennsylvania, there's a mandated reporting law that any professional that works with children has to adhere to. So if they have any suspicion of abuse, they have to report it by law. And it's completely anonymous, and any resident can do the same thing. So I encourage all of you to be brave and step up. Don't wait for another tragedy like the Sandusky case to take place. We need to protect the future generation while they can't do it for themselves. And we got to show people that we're not going to tolerate this for our younger peers. So please step up, get educated, and help out the next generation. Thank you.